All right. It is day 2 of the Beige Brigade. Right here on Black Power Media. This is the Remix Morning Show, bringing you that boom bap breakfast. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Let me introduce you to your host. We got no other than Kamal K. Franklin. And no other than Dr. Jerry Bull.
I really like that effect when I put the cup up and it blacks out the background.
I know, it's cool.
That's hard.
Anyway. What's up, good people? I know he got the books. He's back. He's off the couch.
He must have washed the dishes last night.
Wash the dishes, take out the trash, say some apologies. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do.
Bring your mic a little closer, Kamal, to you where you're speaking. You know,
My bad.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Right. And peace to everybody in the chat. We see you know. Yeah, right. So listen, I got a if we can, I got a Petty J Chronicles issue to bring up with everybody. I'm in a little beef with two of my closest friends, right? Oh. Because I woke up this morning and saw that one of them had put out a positive tweet about somebody they know I have an issue with. So I reached out and was like, my man, all I'm asking is keep your mouth shut. Like, what's up with all the open? I didn't say it like that, but that was really my point. I was like, all I'm asking is you don't have to be all on my side and jumping in and But why are you out? You know, we have an issue. You don't have a relationship with them for real. Like, they're not friends with you. Why are you tweeting them?
But wait a minute. So that's anyway. A whole. So, is there more? Okay.
No, that's it. That is that is all it takes for.
So is that a mark of friendship? If you,
well, I'm asking you. I'm bringing that to the crew here and putting that on the table. So the specifics though, you have to, for some context. Now remember, me and my friend have a long history. The person I have an issue with has no relationship with him. So it's not like we're all friends.
And you and your friend are close. That's your boy.
We're real. Like this is it. These are the last two. You know what I'm saying? This is it. This is it.
And he know you got beef.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like in full detail, laid out, like long talks over extended periods of time. Like it's all. There's no question. There's no. And the argument is that in some indirect way, doing this could maybe position him for something, you know. So like there's this little bit of a, I'm trying to, you know, chess and checkers this thing out. I'm playing 4D chess or whatever, and I'm sitting over here like, nah.
Wait a minute. Now, if he's trying to run a game on your boy and get something out of him, but still be your peoples, then y'all having that conversation like he's playing chess and doing something, then at least he's not running behind your back.
Nah, that's not what this is
sort of an after.
Yeah, this is like let me try to put some spin on this. That's why I was like all this morning. Nah.
Under those circumstances, I think you got a point. Under those circumstances, you got a point. If he got no prior relationship with the person, he knows the beef through and through and through. He takes your side in the beef where he's like, what? How the fuck they do that? It's a little forgetful at best to like,
and you know. But even to be clear, even if he thought I was wrong, I still think you're supposed to side with me. Like. Now again, so a lot of this is silly. So like I don't want to like, you know, without obviously I can't get into the details. So some of it, like it's not like it's not like if I'm asking him to defend some like horrific You know what I'm saying? This is all really silly
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But that is my approach. Like I admit, like I'm like, you supposed to, and all I'm saying is publicly. Like privately, you could be like, Jared, I think you're wrong. I think you should whatever. But publicly, all I'm saying is don't say nothing.
Nah, this is a big question of friendship. This is a good something. Like, does a friend ride with you when they know what you're doing, or do they go opposite of you? And
then how would you define riding? Is the other part of that. How do you define it?
What about if you're wrong? Like you said, even if he's wrong, if you're wrong, he should still ride with you. I don't know about that.
I think so. I think so, especially because we're not talking about what I would be wrong on is not like some, you know what I mean? It's not like some, like, oh wow, you really crossed all the lines. I can't rock with you. It's like just some,
loyalty.
Yeah, James, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's where I'm at, man. Like if you have a beef with somebody, James, I'm not tweeting nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so that would be all I would be like. I'm not saying you have to join. I'm not saying you have to engage. I'm not saying I want you to do anything. I just don't want to wake up and be on your timeline or see pop up in my timeline you praising this person. I'm like, what?
What if they made a good point?
That's where I'm saying. So that's where I lose. Maybe that's where I stick to the principle. You either say I'm unprincipled or I stick to my principle so hard. I'm willing to walk away from even something positive if I've been wrong. Like I'm like,
now that's where Petty J comes in. That's where Petty J comes in. And pettiness doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it do.
I admit it. I'm saying
under these circumstances, though, I think he has a little point under these circumstances. Unless the dude, like, it kind of was a slip of the hand, or
no, this is like a full blown, like this is like so and so is such and such and such and so and like this is like and then like a whole like no, they like initiate the thing. They're like, I just want to praise this person.
Oh, they trying to get something out of it.
Maybe they mad at you for something. Maybe they mad at you.
Maybe. And we should then that should have been explained this morning, and that would be legit too. Like it's
not as much
like
as
when I say I'm down to my two last friends, I acknowledge that some of this is my fault. Like
I'm not changing my ways, but
Jared, you gotta have more enemies than friends. Is this true?
I definitely do. Oh, definitely.
I'm total
But
opposite.
they're not, and enemies is too strong. Like I have more. It's not because enemies would suggest that people like feel I'm worthy of the hostility. Like I have a bunch of I don't give a fuck about him.
Arranged though. If I don't give a fuck about him too, I wish he would fall off the planet.
Yeah. Like it's like
I got that range too. I got that range too.
It's more like it's just the benign hate. It's not people aggressively hating me. It's just like, oh man, he's not even worth.
Yeah,
So
it's more like kind of like fuck that nigga, kind of. You know what I mean? Like
that's it. That's what it is. It's not. It does right. I don't warrant the. It's like when I watch movies about dudes who have like they have women in their lives who like fully lose their like burning up the cars and they have like all these fight. I'm like, I've never, inspired that level of emotion in a woman. You know what I mean? When they're done with me, they're just like, all right, I'm out. It's like, it's just like, I'm out. I don't need to burn up his. That is like I'm done with them. I'm moving on. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is with the dudes I had. They're like, I'm not fighting this guy. I'm not going to war. Who is this guy? Like it's not. It's like that's what I get. You know
what? The only people that don't like me, I would have to say, is the remixers and DJs that be like, how he get that gig? Other DJs that be like, how he up there? Why he up there?
Well, that's not hating you for what you've actually done or who you are. That's different. That's just industry.
Hey, jealous.
Not that
Yeah, they want the gig, B.
Fellas, there's a jealous remixer in our crowd. Oh baby.
Oh no.
Well, I didn't say the remixers. I meant the
Oh,
other
the other
DJs.
DJs,
No, the remixers aren't jealous. They just hate
they
you.
just don't like.
I agree.
No,
with
they
that.
just hate. They hate you for you.
Yeah,
I'm
they
saying
just
the
don't like you.
DJs.
Yeah.
They're just like, I want the gig.
Yeah, the remixers is like, I don't like your politics. I don't like your inability to say certain words. I don't like how you dress. They just, this is all around hate. Except that one day.
That one day, when I'm bringing that back too. The karaoke of
they dropped cash on you, son. They dropped cash.
They loved it. They did.
Yes,
You rehabilitated your image
Yeah.
greatly that day. That was remarkable.
I appreciate it. Leia, you supposed to say you love the Ear Doctor, not just like.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm just playing. Let me go get ready for this break, man. I'll catch you on the.
I appreciate
I
you.
feel like I've inspired hate, though. I feel like I've definitely got folks who wanted to fight me. You know, obviously, like I've had people who followed me home. So I feel like I do inspire a little. And I don't, and it's, I don't even know if I've been that in my own estimation. You know what I mean? It's not like I feel like I've done something to warrant it. It's just like my whatever I've done. Either I didn't back down, or maybe I was just too like, whatever. I don't give a, you know what I mean? Like it's more like that. Like I don't give a fuck what you feel. This is what I'm saying.
Right.
And then people hate that. Right. Yeah, people hate that. You know what I mean? It's like they hate that.
Yeah, it's not like, and I like that distinction. I like to draw that distinction too. It's not like I've done something, it's not like I've done, I've wronged someone or behaved, it's usually just that. Or something like this, where I am I feel wrong to the point where I need to say something over something like this. Like people's energy for that is not they're just like, word, this is gonna bother you. All right, man. Peace. But yeah, man. But no, I haven't. But they have followed you home. Come out. No, I haven't. That's
yeah. So it's not the same level of like. I'm going back to your thing. So it's not a reason to break up a friendship. It's not like the dude like y'all was like there was a fight. And this dude stood and watched the fight and didn't do.
Oh no, nothing at that like
that would be a friend. That would be like a because in that situation, whether right or wrong, I feel like you got to. If I'm with you or you with me, and something's going down, it's either we and it's reached that level. Yeah. Everybody's got to be in. Otherwise,
everybody's got to be. Not questions. It's if I make it out of this, you next. That's what it is. Like if I look up as I'm getting thumped and you standing there sipping on your drink,
like God damn.
I'm be like, all right, I better not make it out of here, or you next. Like,
at least the obligatory hold me back, so we can all get out together. Something,
right.
You know what I mean?
Think about the family, Jack.
Yeah, some commitment,
something like that. Right. Don't just sit there and have a sip, or definitely don't just leave,
or just stand.
Like, what damn, that looked like it hurt.
Anyway, afterwards to carry me home.
Oh man, no. I won't allow it. We would have to fight all. No. You'd have to leave me there bleeding in the street. Don't take me nowhere. Don't come over here now. God damn it. Call 911 and leave. Oh man. Anyway, look. Listen to your doctor. Get us back on track, man, and save the morning. DJ saved my life last night. This morning, the DJ saved my life.
I think you and Kamal would be a good team up for the Hate Awards. I really think that y'all would do a great job on the Hate Awards. Hate.
You know what? Private. I've always wanted to be a part of it. I was like, I want to be.
Kamal, honestly, we talked about it. The visual medium is different, man. Radio is different. Honestly, YouTube streets are different. Like this climate is different. Doing that on radio is one thing. I don't know. We were like, I don't know if YouTube can handle all that honesty.
I gotta see this, man. I Hate Awards, so I gotta definitely see.
We should do them again, man. I missed the Hate Awards. They were great. They were a lot of fun, man.
A little YouTube session for the Patreons. Let's see. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show. All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show right here on Black Power Media. Please make sure y'all hit that like button, that subscribe button if you haven't already. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Yes, it is on again every Tuesday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We rocking for y'all, giving you that boom bap breakfast. Go to patreon.com, drop some change on the bucket so we can keep this train moving. All right, with that said, we talking Hip Hop History Month, which is this November. And who are we going to talk about today? Let's give you a little piece.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's right.
I can't relax, you know.
The real Roxanne. The real Roxanne. Also known as Adelida Martinez. That's right. She is a hip-hop MC that recorded with Select Records. Now, let me tell you, she's straight from Brooklyn, New York. She came out in the 80s. Now, y'all remember when Roxanne Shante came out and had the beef with UTFO. Now, there was a whole Roxanne Wars thing going on at this time where you had different Roxannes and stuff trying to come at UTFO because that was the way to get on for a lot of women MCs. Like, even when Salt and Pepper came on, they had the Showstoppers that went against Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. So then you have Roxanne going against UTFO. Then other Roxannes came out and was like, oh, word, let me get on this bandwagon. So that's what she did. She teamed up with different people like Howie T, and they did a one song called Bang Zoom. It was all right. You know, it hit the UK joints. But here's the funny story about it all. This actually happened to the real Roxanne. The whole story of UTFO, they was up at Albee Square Mall one time, and we talk about Doc Ice, Kango Kid, and damn, y'all know the rest. All right, so we talking about them, and they met up, and Roxanne paid them no mind while they was rapping. So this was part of a rhyme that really happened. But what happened is Roxanne, the real Roxanne, was dating Full Force member Paul Anthony George. And he was like, yo, you need to come and audition for this Roxanne Shante thing because we're going to put it out there. So she auditioned and got on and came out and wound up dropping 2 albums, The Real Roxanne, back in 1988. And then 1992, she dropped Go Down, But Don't Bite It. Now, think of that. A lot of people was like, Lil' Kim brought in that whole sexual liberation thing. But the name of her album was Go Down, But Don't Bite It. Wow. Let me find out she was the real one that put it out there. All right. Well, that is Roxanne Shante, and this is the Remix Morning Show. So let's get back to your host right here with the most. All right.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I tell you, I can't relax, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
man.
Rodney Dangerfield drop. That's hilarious.
You mentioned
I
Albee
missed a
Square Mall, son.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was the song by Bismarck. I shop at the Albee Square Mall.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
damn. That's
Joint.
mad. That bring back mad memories. Yeah. Then they tore that shit down.
I didn't know most of that about Roxanne. I think after her initial, hit, I lost track. And don't go. Well, when she initially came on the scene.
Yeah.
But Go Down and Don't Bite It. That's.
I
I guess it's good advice, but.
But think about it. Everybody's like, Lil' Kim brought through the whole sexual liberation for the women. But she did this in 92.
Wow.
This was before Lil' Kim dropped. So, but you also had Push It and, some other songs, sexual songs. That
I would say, Salt and Pepper probably a little bit before that was like the real.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's your little hip hop history moment, right?
Hip Hop History Month. I feel like this shit's been going on for 2 months. It's only been November.
It's only November, man.
Oh man, yeah.
Listen,
I feel like every month since June has been Hip Hop History Month. I was like, every time I hear it's a Hip Hop History Month shit.
Isn't it also Indigenous Peoples Month now? Didn't they throw that in there? Was that last month?
Don't
I don't like.
Is it Brother and Sisters Day? I mean, there's so many different holidays they done created. It's ridiculous right now, but that's what it is, man. I'll catch y'all on the next break. Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you very much. So Kamal, before we slap the map, let's just slap the map. Let's slap the map.
Slap.
Because I don't think All right, welcome everybody back to the Remix Morning Show here at Black Power Media. Kamal, you got some stories you want to get to? I only have one update, just quickly from the story about the conflict created by this film amongst my daughter's clique. There's some good news. There's been some détente. There has been some discussion of not letting this film ruin our friendship. And I am very happy to hear that. But in one of the exchanges, one of the young people was said to have said, "We see ourselves in the Wakandans." And that's exactly why I was arguing about the Vernon philosophy of Black media avoidance. We should not want to see ourselves in these films. And that, when I heard that line, I was like, ooh, man, that hurt. But anyway, a little bit of good news.
No, that's really good news. I'm glad, that they've worked it out and not let a movie as 15 year. How old is they 15, 16-year-olds?
16, yep.
16-year-olds, don't let a movie, as much as you may like or dislike it, separate yourself. But I agree, it's like too much interposing like us or our condition on something created by Disney, a Disney product. Kind of, that's the, unfortunately, it's not just the mind of a 16-year-old, got 30 or 40-year-olds who do that. But yeah, people.
But she said that someone actually said the phrase that they act, because that's verbatim. We see ourselves in this film like that. Like I was like, oh man, that's really? The exact but that's the intent. That's the goal. That's what Disney is saying they want, and it's like, damn, to actually hear somebody or see that somebody said, it's like, damn. Anyway,
because it's like it's aspirational to a point of like it's never going to get achieved, and you're not working to make it happen. And I'm not even going into whether or not you want to achieve it, but it's kind of like, oh, that's this great fantasy line of what Africa is like. It's like, yeah, but that avoids you digging down deep and being like, well, this is what's happening on the ground. We got to work to fix this or whatever.
Yeah,
and again, I'm not putting that all on a 16-year-old, but just
right.
Saying,
fix it, teenager, damn it, fix
it. But yeah, that's too much to be like, yeah.
Oh, I know. I saw that, and I was like, I gotta boycott another podcast now. I can't. The idea of Dyson on Drink Champs. It makes sense. Drink Champs is a Revolt TV product. It's a P. Diddy product, and the white boy that co-founded Revolt with him. It's a product. I get it. I just found some enjoyment in it, and now they've ruined it.
Just go watch that episode. I'm sure there's gonna be other episodes that are better. He's on the list. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they can't even help themselves. It's like he's on the list.
Cynthia said, I think it was Cynthia in the chat said, I need counseling. And in this regard, I agree. Like when I see when the well gets poisoned, it's hard for me to go back. I'm like, can't I have any space that this man doesn't ruin? Like, damn. Did you read his
operation? He's on the list.
But this is what bothers me even more. I've actually read Dyson's work. That's the thing. Like, they don't read this stuff. It's trash. And I don't even like to say that about another person's work. Mine is easily criticizable, but that one book he did where he has his grad student basically type up a transcript of an interview about rap history is just so bad. It's just so bad. But my point is, the people who know of him, they know of him from some speech he gave at their church or on MSNBC. They don't know his actual work. Yes. They don't understand the anyway, so it's like it's just terrible, and I'm in there like
he came because he's on TV, because he rapped some lines. You know what I mean? he was the younger Cornell version, like, you know what I mean, trying to be Mr. Hip Hop professor. That's what you're right. Nobody reads Dyson's. Who reads Dyson's books?
No,
Who gets through them?
and I've watched it happen in person where I'm sitting across from him, and that never before. We should have released it. I should have just. I would have. My ego would have been destroyed for a while. But we should have released it. But because watching him work a crowd of young Black people who I know haven't read a word of what he said, but he does the whole thing of I'm in the churches and my brother's in prison, and I mean then he can start quoting Bible verses, and I'm sitting up there just seething. like damn it, this is nonsense. And rest in peace, but Glenn Ford he picked the worst time to have a cold. He just wasn't, and so his game wasn't strong that day either. Glenn normally would just destroy him. So I was like, but he was sick, and Dyson was just rolling over us, and I was like, damn it.
But you see, this is why we are not invited to the reindeer games. This is why, because as opposed to feeling sympathy or feeling some sort of empathy for something, like I go into that mode too. If somebody starts the crime routine, or they start giving me their background and it's all sad, it's all how they overcame, I'm just like, please. Most of it, every now and then someone will pull through, but most of the time it's more like, was this rehearsed? That's my immediate feeling is like, oh God.
I'm with you, man. I hate it.
Yeah. It's not.
Stop using that.
Yes.
To cover the fact that you have no argument.
I very rarely feel the sincerity of it. Every now and then, of course, but it's more like, oh, here we go.
But your analysis, yeah, my bad. Go ahead, man.
No. Go ahead.
I'm just saying your analysis of why we're in this problem can't be that I was poor. Like that. It's just not. It just doesn't. And then what do? We just sit there and start trading poverty stories, like to see who had it actually the worst. So if I can prove I had it worse than you, then do I win? Do I get to win now? Stop it. This is anyway. But yeah, I
had the person who tells me, like, you know, that I'm going to leave their name out for today for some reason. I think because my wife is nearby, and so she'll get mad at me if I say their name. But you know, they did the whole crying in front of me thing. It was like we were having some beef on the phone. So we sat down one-on-one, and they did the whole, you know, he did the tears thing and how he's hated by everybody. And I'm just going like,
dude, yeah, I'm bad with that.
Yeah.
I'm bad with that.
I can't.
Hey, fellas, did you get on with the news?
Oh, damn.
No, we're not done yet.
This is the news, damn it. Anyway.
I was just
is that it get in the background? I think, did I hear that?
Toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity. I'm guilty of it because when the tears, I get more angry. I get like, if you start crying in front of me, I'm like, my man,
yes,
you gotta get it together. Get it together. Where I want to make you cry even more.
Or more.
Like,
exactly.
cry some more, you little. Yeah, it's bad. It's I admit that could be a little toxic.
I've been to people's speeches where they cried, you know, they cry at the same time in every speech. And I'm like, really? People buy it? And then the crowd goes wild, you know.
So just to make a quick segue, I have actually, there was one time in Seattle where I broke into tears giving a speech. Now I think I had good reason, you know, I think I had good reason, right? But I did. I was reading something anyway, and I started crying. And somebody said something critical in the crowd, and it was perfect because it snapped me right out of it. And I went in and I was like, okay, good. But I thought I was having like a legit moment, right? When it seems that it's a tactic and it's routine and it's happening over and over again, then I, you know, and then honestly, if I had been someone else watching me do what I was doing, I'd have been in the crowd like, son, this is not working for you. Get it together. Like,
I've had 2 or 3 moments too of like I did the man cry, like the and the
Right,
voice
right,
cracks, but maybe half a tear comes out, but you get it together right beforehand.
Oh no, I was. It was out. It was out.
Can't give it up.
It was out.
No,
And I was like, I was like, yeah, it was
that.
bad. But
Never
then
that.
thankfully, and it was this white dude said something critical about Kwame Ture. And I was like, it was even like, oh yes, right back on track. Anyway, yeah, let's get to some news. Go ahead, man. Did you have something you want to get us started?
I mean, this is going to make us all cry.
Okay. Uh-oh.
No, not really. I just I thought it was cute
Uh-oh.
to say. But no, not the baby thing. That was going to make us cry. Biden's another court blocks Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, and it says no workable path. So all this brouhaha about Biden getting folks back $20,000 each in student debt, and for about 40 million Americans, has now been put on hold. There are many who are saying that this should have been predicted, that there was not sound legal reasoning for the fact that this was the way this was laid out, and that there could have been a better way in which it was laid out. But the ruling from the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals come in response to a lawsuit jointly filed by 6 Republican-led states that argued that Biden's administration was overstepping its executive powers. The litigation also alleged that Missouri's loan server would face a number of ongoing financial harms if the loans were forgiven, and that the other states behind the suit would see a disruption in revenue to their coffers. And so it marks the second court ruling, I think we talked about the other one last week, blocking the White House debt relief program, since a federal judge in Texas on Thursday blocked the program and declared it unlawful. And then lastly, on Monday, 8th Circuit ruled that at least one of the states, Missouri, had legal standing to challenge the Biden plan. The ruling noted that Missouri is likely to be harmed if the debt forgiveness plan moves forward, because the Missouri Higher Education Loan Authority would suffer a financial blow if a substantial portion of its accounts were no longer active due to the Biden plan. So why does it matter that a state authority would have less revenue? Doesn't make any sense to me as a reason to give them standing. That somehow that their coffers would be lowered as opposed to people not having as much debt to pay back. And again, this was a limited plan as it was. But even that part has been put on hold for now.
Look, I think I saw Ricky say it in the chat. This was predictable. That this is the pattern, and we can already see it happening. Just like with Obama and any other Democrat, as soon as he leaves office and writes his book, it'll be all about how the Republicans blocked all the great things he was trying to do, and the fact that Black people didn't come out and vote enough. Those will be like the linchpins of the post-Biden era reflection, when we don't get a damn thing that he either promised or never really promised, but people thought he was promising. Like, that seems to be the pattern here. So it's the same. And obviously, even as Ear Doctor pointed out, billions go to Ukraine. They can say they have no problem. It's not overstepping to say women have to have babies. Like, you're going to have that baby, but that's not overstepping. It's not overstepping to say, you're going to die because you don't have enough health care. So you're just going to have to die. That's not overstepping. All of these things. But when it comes to actually, the slightest bit of relief, I just, and I can see
that wrong. I did that rollout wrong. Oops.
I can see it. Yeah, he's if you know what, vote for me one more time, and I'll do it next time.
Exactly. I'll get it right. I'll get it right next time.
I'll get it right. I'll figure it out. I just need one more again.
And in this ongoing journey of who will be the challenger. So now your boy has apparently announced Trump seeks White House again amid the GOP losses and / legal problems. So it says former President Trump on Tuesday launched his third campaign for the White House, just 1 week after a disappointing midterm showing for Republicans, forcing the party to again decide whether to embrace a candidate whose refusal to accept defeat in 2020 sparked an insurrection and pushed American democracy to the brink. Did it? In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for the president of the United States, Trump said before an audience of several hundred supporters in a chandeliered ballroom at his Mar-a-Lago club, where he stood flanked by American flags and banners bearing his "Make America Great Again" slogan. And then lastly, America's comeback starts right now, he said, formally beginning the 2024 Republican primary. So he's back in the race. It's no surprise there, but he's back in the race. So the big thing is going to be between. Go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering what is the Trump narrative about the first term? So if he's saying we need to make America great again, so is he saying that he got America back to greatness? And then
definitely he's saying
with
that.
Biden. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
the economy was going well.
Okay.
He pulled America out of wars. That part ain't no lie.
That part is not a lie.
He pulled America
right,
out of
true.
wars. He'll give the triumvirate, America was feeling itself again, blah, blah, blah. Right, so, yeah, right. I mean, no matter what, he's going to push that. And then again, under Biden, we've had the inflation. So, that's going to be something that's going to be pushing down, depending on how the economy continues to roll, that he's going to use to say, look, you put that Democrat in and blah, blah, blah. So I think that is part of his signature or his campaign speeches, and his platform is going to be that kind of information. And then I think his big challenger now seems to be Florida Republican DeSantis, and he's not so much the anti-Trump because the policies or the ideas are very much aligned. But again, I think these are just two egos pushing up against each other on who should be the next Republican nominee.
And sometimes I see people say of DeSantis that he's supposed to be the more sort of organized or rational Trump or whatever.
I've heard him called the smarter Trump or the smart Trump.
Smarter Trump, right?
Yeah. Which I mean, it ain't much to go up on.
I was gonna say,
I think even Herschel Walker can claim to be the smarter Trump and shit like that. So I don't think it's much to go on.
Not the subliterate himself.
Yes. So he can stand up there and go I'm not Trump. You know what I mean? So
for some reason, that is like the most gangster insult. Still, for some reason that subliterate hits so hard. I'm like, damn. So it's just
it sent us all right into the dictionary to say, oh, okay, I like that one.
I like that. I've been running it to death.
You've been using it
in road rage moments. And now when I have kids in the car, I don't have to worry about my normal language. So I can call somebody subliterate. See, but
why you still sitting at the light? But you still got to go you subliterate motherfucker. You know what I mean?
No,
that messes
it works for me, at least for now. It's still new enough. It works for me that I can get it without any embellishments. I could just, you subliterate. That's why you still sitting at the light, because you subliterate. And then it's that's why you going 20 and a 50. You subliterate. And there was a lot of subliteracy happening at the drop off today. I'm telling you, there's nothing more pessimistic. Afro pessimism got nothing on school drop off for me. It's just, we're never going to get it together. And did you know, I heard a black man say to a black woman, and it happened so fast that even to Kim's encouragement, even if I had wanted to, I wouldn't have been able to do it. They had a little, they honk at each other, and dude, with all the kids around, yells out the car, "Don't get yourself dragged out the car this morning."
Oh,
and then drives off. And I was like, this is
it's the state of affairs. It's the state of affairs.
I was like, man, let me go to BPM, man. I can't be out here, man. Let me get on our YouTube channel, man. It's safer in the remix chat.
It's safer in the remix
drop off.
So one last thing on this. So what do you think about as much thought as you've given to so you think Biden's going to run again? I'm just curious. I'm not.
I can't. I have not paid enough attention to know what he's at or his camp has actually said, but I've gotten the impression that he's leaving it on the table, and I'm getting also the impression that there's not yet emerged the sufficient level superstar from the Democrats to get the obvious replacement. makeup award, maybe, but I feel like, I would have thought that too, but with the whole conflict in Ukraine and the United States able to support Ukraine and use all of it without actually fully committing to a war, and they could just send billions in arms and all of that, maybe he'll think that that's enough. Like, I'm showing strength against Putin and all of that or whatever. But I've also been thinking, in expectation that Trump would announce that, again, the Democrats are probably on some level maybe thinking that that's a good thing, like last time, and maybe this time they will have figured out what not to do with Hillary or a Hillary type campaign to win. Anyway,
a friend of mine brought up they thought Buttigieg. Is it Buttigieg?
Buttigieg.
Someone was predicting he would run for president. I don't see, I don't see him capturing the black vote. I think he's really weak on, in terms of how Democratic politics goes. It's like he's a real smart dude, but weak on sort of how to handle race. And I don't know if that's improved over the last few years, but I've seen him on things like Fox News and coming out hard and all that kind of stuff in terms of his rhetorical flourishes. So I think he's got that. I think being gay still may be an issue in terms of folks voting with him in the larger. But
he's
election.
Military gay. He's like war hawk gay, so that might help. Like he's
probably will a little bit.
We do still have a couple years, so he has a chance to fix his branding. And someone else has a chance to pop up that we don't know. What happened to Oprah? Wasn't she and The Rock? At one point there was discussions of getting these
Rock
big
is
celebrities.
Making too much fucking money to give that up to run for the White House. He's not giving up $20 million a movie to run for the White House. I don't see it. And then no one's talking about Kamala. So she's going to have to fight tooth and nail to be noticed, because they've just sent her, she's basically appearing at funerals and memorial services. And that's the role that they've now given her. So
I'm telling you, if you haven't, you got to watch the series Veep, especially in the light of that last comment, because the series Veep is hilarious. And will like show what is probably happening in those offices right now, where she's desperately trying to have meetings with the president and he's never available, and she's getting sent to do all that kind of silly stuff like you're talking about. Go stand out in the rain at somebody's funeral and read something while we're over here doing the real business of the day. Anyway, she's gonna be working at the Starbucks. That's messed up. That would be hilarious though if you look up in the barista and it says could you put some more sprinkles on that?
Black governor. There's the black governor from Maryland, the new guy.
Speaking of Oprah,
people are saying he's giving off Barack vibes. I've not seen him up close or whatever, or heard any speeches. So does that?
Yeah, I haven't paid him enough attention either, to be honest, and I did not vote for him. And oddly, shockingly, my candidate didn't win. But he does have Barack vibes. But he also has that sort of military thing also that he can throw around a little bit. So it doesn't come necessarily with that same level of softness, but it's that same kind of big smile, everybody wants to be around and all that kind of stuff, and then the policies are probably gonna look
I heard he's got
Obama-like.
I think Kim mentioned last week he has the background as a finance guy or whatever, a Wall Street guy. So
Wall Street, military, all the things that you look for in a revolutionary hero. He's got it all. Hey, but real quick, speaking of revolutionary heroes, I did want to, if I could share this, I did want to bring this up because our brother, Professor Dylan Rodriguez was live and direct out there yesterday supporting this effort, and I feel it a little bit too in terms of I don't have a subscription to my own link. All right, so there's a strike happening at the University of California system, and the details are a little shaky for me, but they involve faculty, staff, adjunct, untenured faculty arguing for their rights. So I'll pull it. What I'll do is I'll just pull this up because it was on. He shared it via Instagram yesterday. That is Dylan. Just a little bit of people marching at what is the biggest strike in the history of U.S. universities. The second day at the University of California system, and just there's Dylan himself. So just supporting the strike, and more power to him. And again, I just, even when we're talking about underfunded institutions, be they a part of a state system, be they HBCUs, there is still the issue of redistribution once you get into the actual what is available. So it may not obviously be enough, it may not be appropriate. And thank you for pulling that up. But it is there is this real issue of redistribution. And if anybody is not familiar with just the general situation, just like everywhere else in the labor force, all the senior, more experienced, tenured should be paid properly. That level of faculty or that level of worker is being pushed out, trying to be kept in as small a number as possible so that they can rely on as much as they can. People putting together disparate teaching rosters at schedules at different universities so they can get 3, 4, 5 courses, so they can get enough so they can maybe get some benefits. Usually they don't come with benefits, and teachers are being paid, faculty are being paid, graduate researchers are being paid very little to do work, to teach classes. Adjunct and lecturers are paid very little without benefits to teach classes. And so that universities have, again, the smallest amount possible of faculty that they actually have to give benefits and some sort of legitimate pay to. And anyway, yeah. So even in the state of California, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say one quick thing too. Like, and so far it seems like grad students and undergrad students have not crossed the picket line. Other unions have joined in. So it seems like this is, again, this is taking off in terms of the solidarity behind it. So yeah, all praises due. Hopefully they get their due. And again, we seem to be in this period where there's an uptick, at least in labor action. And so hopefully, people are seeing that if they don't have unions, things like at Twitter, at Facebook, a lot of the places at Amazon, where there's been recent announcements of layoffs, will continue to happen because there's no collective bargaining, there's no representation, there's no fight, and these sort of billionaires and these corporations get to do what they want to do on a whim, or get to do what they do without necessarily considering or taking into account like what the needs are of the folks who are doing that work and making them rich. So union efforts are really on the upswing, and so we need to support that.
And Bimor Akuma is right. I mean, if you're an adjunct or a lecturer, unless you're teaching 5, 6 different classes at multiple universities, you're not going to have a sustainable living wage.
Is it different that some of the, maybe this is the question may be already answered by the fact that folks are striking, but, you would think at some of these universities, and I might be mixing apples and oranges, but with all these resources brought in by sports and the amount of pay given to these coaches and so forth, that you would think at the baseline that some of that money would be used to make sure that in particular, like adjuncts are paid a solid livable wage, so that they don't have to teach, like you said, 3 or 4 classes, but still be hustling to make ends meet.
But it's the same thing in any industry. If we could say the same thing about the country itself. How could a country with a $20 trillion GDP have any poor people at all? Mm-hmm. And that's, so like there are like people like Dyson, people at that level of academia that people may see on TV or have sometimes they have legitimately really good books and do really good work, but they are at an elite level where they're making $300,000-$400,000 a year, $200,000 a year. And to sustain that while paying administrators even more and presidents even more, you have to have that. And then you're giving, to your point, you're giving the coach of the football team $10 million. At the bottom of that is still a need to teach thousands of students and grade thousands of papers and take thousands of hours of advisement. Like that other part people leave out. Like students want to come and they need to talk to you about their schedules and whatever. All of that still has to happen. Somebody's still got to do that. And, like we've even had, I remember a couple of years ago when I was going through, the height of my own drama, and I was in somebody's office and I was, just complaining and whining and blah, blah, blah. And there was somebody on our campus who has, relatively speaking, that level of celebrity. And where, in other words, they have a big salary and they're not expected to do anything. And as this person said to me, I haven't seen him in years and have a hard time tracking him down other than when it's, time for him to get paid. So in other words, but the point is somebody's still got to teach his classes. Somebody's still got to grade his students' papers. And that's usually somebody who is brought in to, given $1,500 and said, do that.
So it works like that at that level, like they're hired, they're a full professor or whatever the term is, but they're not, and they have classes to quote unquote teach, but they literally are not expected to do it. It's if they are
everything is, I've learned everything is very specific to the person. There are people who have very specific deals that you won't get anywhere else. And one of the problems at HBCUs in particular is that these are people who would not even get a real job at another university, but are given really special privileged relationships. And then the last thing really that it does, and that's why it's good to see people like Dylan Rodriguez participating and supporting this effort, because what ends up happening is when you have people with special privileges, obviously it ends up disturbing labor and the unified labor. So if you can have, because somebody's in the rooms, you can always say, well, damn, that sucks for you, but I don't have to be at that meeting and I don't have to teach 4 classes and I make 6 figures a year. And they're looking at you like, what's your problem? And I'm like, well, dude, you the only one that got this situation. You know what I'm saying? like duh. Anyway, but it's just really bad. So my whole thing is just like with everything else, let's not, kind of like with the whole crying thing. Don't cry to me about how we're being ripped off by the state and we don't have Harvard money and all that other kind of stuff. That's correct. But after that is you all have too much and you're not sharing what little we do have. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, anyway, so.
No. Well, speaking
no,
of
I'm just saying.
Shares, no, finish that.
No,
statement.
I mean,
Finish that statement.
no, I'm just saying, at some point you need to stop fronting like everything, all of the inequality is the result of the apparatus, and not the greed and the lack of distribution of what we do have. And it's just like what my argument with with my buddies, like if we only got if I just need you not to tweet, just don't tweet. And if we have 3 cookies left, we each get a cookie. That's it. I know we only got 3 cookies. I know we don't have any, but we each get a cookie. That's it. Anyway.
And can you teach one class? Can you teach one of your own classes?
So I don't have 4 every year for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you show up at 1 meeting so I don't have to take the minutes every damn month? You know what I'm saying? Like, like
speaking of
little
somebody
stuff
who
like that.
always shows up
on time, ready to go.
You know what I'm saying? To
Hey.
teach a class, maybe not teach a class.
What? You crazy?
He was nice. He taught my class.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he taught my class.
That's right.
Boy, the disrespect out in these streets.
I
mean, listen, I gotta go here though. I want to take y'all back to the 90s. Can I do that real quick?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
So within the 90s, y'all talking about student speak outs and strikes and all that stuff. Did y'all know that back in the 90s? Man, let me find out this thing ain't pulling it up.
That whole setup and shit, and you ain't even got your shit ready.
Listen, check this out. All right, look at this.
Oh.
Back in the 90s,
Oh.
your boy back there, student speaks out.
Wow.
We had a strike. That's me and Zaki in the back. You know my boy from Chicago. We had a student strike, speak out against the president, got the president fired because they wasn't spending money on the school. And yeah, did it back in the 90s, man. Back in my revolutionary
True.
still going
True.
down, you know.
Look at you. I like that. I like that.
Hey, I'm more than a pretty face. Yes, that is me. Come on now. I had the locks going on back, and I still got the shaded glasses. Nothing.
I was gonna say you still got the cool glasses.
Hey
what I'm
man,
saying?
I got it from my daddy. All right, well check this out. We're gonna go ahead and go right to the next break right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, what's good, everybody? Welcome out once again, my friends. All right, so we are still talking about some hip-hop history. And since, when the corona pandemic was going down, I got to teach classes online at schools. And then school opened back up, and they said, "You gonna come in and teach?" I said, "No, I'm not." But with that said, I wanted to talk about another one of the elements of hip-hop. Now, what am I going to talk about? No other than the element of beatboxing. That's right. We're talking about beatboxing. Beatboxing goes back a long, long time. When we're talking about scatting, we're talking about ham bone, when you making music with your body or with your mouth. Now, we could take it all the way back to Sonny Boy Williams when we're talking about beatboxing. Check this out. Yeah. So we could take it back there when we're talking about beatboxing to where it came all the way up to the 80s in hip hop and crashed the scene with certain artists like the Fat Boys, for instance. So if we're talking about, where do I got that at? Bam. Check this out. We're talking about one of the best right here.
He rocks and shot homeboys, girl, in the city with beatbox.
That's right. That right there is Buffy from Buffy the Human Beatbox from the Fat Boys. So it went all the way to there. And to now, when you're looking at beatboxing, as of course, it travels and it goes around the world. And who else does it? Check this out. All right, enough of him. All right, so boom, you got everybody out here beatboxing now. But like I said, it started out back where you had Dougie Fresh, where you had one of the best to ever do it. And I gotta show love to no other than my boy right here, Biz Markie, R.I.P. So we had Rozelle, we had we had Wise from Steph the Sonics. We had so many different people bringing the beatbox, and that is definitely a big part of hip hop. And I wanted to just give it a shout out. So big up to all the beatboxers out there. Keep making the music with your mouth. All right. With that said, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning Show. Yo. That's right.
Right
And
on.
yeah, don't forget about your boy from Police Academy too. He rocks.
So one of the most fascinating things I saw during the pandemic. So one of the silly things I watch is the show Archer, which I think is one of the funniest, well-written things on TV. It's quietly, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But they did a thing where the live actors came on screen during the pandemic and did a reading of the show of an episode live on camera. And that brother, they brought him up there to do all the sound effects for their reading of the show. So it would have some of the, and he killed it. It was crazy how broad a range of sounds he was able to bring up beyond just beatboxing, or even what I used to remember him doing on Police Academy to give sound to a whole episode that these folks were reading. It was deep. I was like,
Yeah,
right
that's
on.
it's considered the fifth element when you talk about MCing, DJing, graffiti, and breakdance. It's considered the fifth element.
The fifth element, I thought, I think there's disputes on that. I don't remember that. I thought it was like street entrepreneurialism.
Let me unmute Kamal because, of course, his hip hop knowledge is definitely going to shock the world.
Lord.
I was calling you a liar.
Lord.
My bad. I didn't know that was on mute. You're lying. You know what you're talking about.
Who's lying?
Beatbox is the fifth element. I
yes,
never heard of that shit before.
Yeah. Wow, y'all. I mean, that's why I'm here. I mean, I come to
You make
y'all.
shit up?
I come to y'all when it comes to law and economic spending. So believe me when I say the fifth element here is beatboxing, and then it goes into community knowledge itself. It has different elements of hip hop. Go Google it. I mean, you don't believe me? I'm sure you'll believe Google.
I don't fucking believe.
Where's
Google.
Minister Server?
Minister
Minister Server's in the
Server's
chat.
I don't
He's
believe
in the
Minister
chat.
Server either.
Wow, come on, man.
Minister Server. What? Because Minister Server says it.
Minister is one of the founding historians of this hip hop thing, man.
Not if he says crazy shit like that.
All right, it's all
It's the
good.
fifth
Don't believe me.
element is beatbox.
B-box, that's right. It is. Okay. See, that's the whole thing. You know, I kind of respect some of the things y'all do, and I'm like, you know what? They know what they're
I
talking
respect
about.
you totally. I just, but I get it wrong in politics a lot of times. I'm just saying.
Right. I mean, we can't disagree with anything you say about hip hop.
Not
Is
in,
that what
not
you're
in hip
saying?
hop. Nope. Sorry.
Oh wow, that's deep.
Not when it comes to the elements. Minister, where you at, bro? I mean, we giving you a chance to type it in and let them know that your boy is on point, but it's all good.
Notice he's not typing.
I haven't seen it yet.
He's definitely in the chat. I haven't seen a type. I haven't seen a type. I'm back up yet.
Oh, Air Doctor is correct. That is right. Tell him,
Who's
Raphael.
Raphael? I don't know Raphael.
I don't
He's
know
my
who
cousin.
Raphael is.
Ah.
Yeah,
No offense to you, Raphael. You know what I'm saying? But that could
get
be
your
your
Brown
cousin.
University frat brother out the chat, man.
Exactly.
Yo, Cuzzo, good looking, Raphael.
Raphael, you gotta kiss up to the doctor.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, anyway, that's your hip hop history for the day. Big up to all the beatboxers and people that made
Oh, there it is. There it
Yes.
is.
Thank
Look
you.
at the
We're gonna have
qualifier.
to
Look at the
Hey.
qualifier.
Hey, I'm out of here.
Look at the
Technically.
qualifier though. Technically.
Wow. Wow, you can just give it to me, huh, Minister? Man, I'm done.
Oh man, that's too much. That's too much.
Let me bring in a better looking face than me, man.
Oh damn.
Oh,
Erica in the building. What's up?
Erica. And look, the camera
Good
looks
morning.
Good morning. I got
You know what? You have to start early, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it was the first thing I noticed. I didn't even recognize it was you at first because I could see your whole face. It wasn't like blurry.
Wow.
You know, it was like, oh wow. It kicked in. The
Wow.
camera
That's
kicked
up.
in. It is a pleasure to see you. I feel like you've been traveling a lot.
No, I haven't been traveling. It's just taking my kids. They had to go early this morning, so I had some time. And so I thought to myself, I should drop in if the guys will let me. And so I'm so grateful the ear doctor actually let me on the platform.
They don't make those kind of choices.
Let you.
Let you.
Look, I have to
You're
get,
welcome.
first of all, I'm gonna give the ear doctor some praises. I'm gonna do that.
Oh man. Now you messing
I know.
up. Now you coming in here messing everything up now.
No, I actually need him to come back on so I can tell. Okay.
Yeah, he was ready for that.
Uh-huh.
Like, let's say something nice.
Look,
No
you
technical
see how he
difficulties
popped
there.
up? You see how he popped up?
He waiting for you.
Oh,
He's there.
Erica.
Okay, so this is what I want to talk to y'all about. It's the idea of community, right? And so y'all know at Brokish, or maybe you don't know, at Brokish, we started out as a podcast. So for me, the whole time for us, it's always been audio we show up any kind of way and it didn't matter. And so when we moved over here, then we moved to video, and then people care about cameras and how you look and all this other stuff that I never had to care about before. So I do have my 13-year-old doing my video editing. And I've been putting some of my stuff up, and I don't have time to watch all the stuff, right? So anyway, I'm putting this stuff up, and then people in the comments are like, y'all's video is trash, it's garbage, all this kind of stuff. And so I'm just ignoring it because I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? I don't really care. But Ear Doctor's like, look, he pulled me to the side and he was like, Erica, now look, he was very diplomatic about it. He was like, look, we appreciate y'all and we like y'all's show, but y'all can't be just putting trash out there for the people, right? we have to respect the community better than that. And he was like, I mean, you need a new camera, you need a new microphone, you need to do something. But you know what? That's what community's supposed to do, right?
That's right.
When you are not living your best life, they're supposed to pull you to the side. And he was not, like I said, he was very nice about it. He didn't really offer no help though, but that's okay. He was nice about it. And I appreciate you, Ear Doctor.
Hey, listen, you look good, you sound good, you got the headphones in, no echoing. Everything is great, and then she tried to come with some excuses. I was like, I don't listen to excuses. And look, she got it right. Thank you.
Well, in a private meeting before that, he was like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on with Erica?" It was more that tone.
But look,
he was throwing stuff around. He kicked over his DJ table. He was furious. That's what happened to his laptop. He was talking about somebody stole my laptop. He's like, I swear.
He puts up one more trash video.
And listen, with the community aspect, Erica, thank you for making sure we got good stories, because these guys just come around in the morning, they don't have nothing prepared, but they look on the sheet and they say, you know what, Erica's got it. So Erica did that. You know what?
He's 1,000. Let me give you a compliment. He's 1,000% correct on that. Without you putting that stuff up in there, I would be spending 8:01 to 8:09 looking for.
You put in a lot of work.
Yes, you all praises due. All praises due. In fact, you're like a darker brown than I thought, considering what your camera was before. I was like,
wow.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
You know no, I'm just saying, though. It's the first time I think I've really seen you. I was like, oh my God.
Wow. I didn't even want a better camera, because now y'all can see how big my head is. See, that's the problem, is that with a good camera, you can see just how big it is. But anyway, that's not the point.
Erica, you're headed for success. You're headed for success.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's messed up. With his whole head is all he is a head. He's gonna talk about your forehead. At least your forehead ends.
Wow.
Unlike his and mine just keeps going. I'm not getting into the
bald man beef. I'm not.
Oh, we cracking light bulb head? I mean, if we're doing that, let's go.
Is it dark over there? I got you.
News. People came here for news. That's a lot. They didn't come here for drama. That's true. One other thing I will say, just like, thank you so much. Just like Letitia came on the show, and we've been happy to have her on the show. I would be happy to have somebody from the chat help with stories, and I know Ricky does it. So if anybody, including Ricky, wants to help on a more regular basis, I would be very happy for that help. So y'all reach out on Twitter if it's still standing.
More constructive criticism. See, but this is the thing, Rashad, that people like, because this is usually direct. I don't know if this is directed at me specifically, but I usually get these kinds of criticisms. And what I'm saying is I hear you. A 1 hour video essay is better than a 3 hour rant, but a 3 hour rant is way easier than a 1 hour essay. So because for me to write what would be a 1 hour essay would take me 6 to 10 hours. So speaking of which, by the way, just real quick self-promotion, shout out to Ajamu Baraka. He intimidated me via email into writing up my critique of Wakanda for today's Black Agenda report. And to that point, that's exactly my point. It took me an ungodly amount of time to write 1,500 words. So but I could get up there and talk for 3 hours very easily. So I admit, I hear you, Rashad. I appreciate the critique, but just so you understand why it's not going to change for me. that's anyway. But I think Brokish is great, and I think, you know, and I appreciate Ear Doctor helping out. Thank you, God Created Black. Yeah, my camera goes in and out of focus when I move too fast. Sorry about that. It should check back in. But I think Brokish has been doing a great job. I think it's been wonderful to have you all join the platform.
Yes.
And some of the personal reveals that you all share in the midst is fascinating as well. They sometimes get pretty personal, Kamau. I don't know, you know, talking about hair and wigs and children and family and all types of stuff. It's yeah.
Uh-oh.
All right. Okay. So who got a story? I think that's Ear Doctor telling us to get back to business.
All right. So
Anybody got something they want to get to? Yeah.
real quick, I got we didn't talk about this internationally speaking, but so over the last couple of days at the G20 summit, Biden and the Chinese premier met. China and the United States show how global summits are in arena, blah, blah, blah. So basically at the sidelines, I go to blah, 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 because that part wasn't important. On the sidelines, the U.S. president and Chinese president have eased tensions, it says, between the countries. They are vying for influence in Asia and beyond, offering competing stances on how to address poverty and the war in Ukraine. China has been a steadfast partner in the region, rejecting what he described as the United States Cold War mentality of forming security alliances at the Group 20 summit on Tuesday. He spoke lawfully about China's global initiatives to fight poverty and strife, while remaining publicly vague about Russia's invasion of Ukraine and President Vladimir Putin's nuclear saber rattling. And of course, take this with a grain of salt. This is the New York Times, and the reporting will be skewed to put China in sort of in a defensive posture in terms of its foreign policy goals and aspirations, as opposed to the United States. Later on, it says President Biden unveiled fresh steps by rich Western countries promising hundreds of billions of dollars to build infrastructure in poor countries in an effort widely seen as a counter to China's Belt and Road Initiative. He met with leaders from Italy and Turkey to shore up support for Ukraine. So this is, I think, the first in-person meeting of Biden's presidency with this Chinese counterpart. And so just wanted to bring that to light.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I don't know much about that either, or what are the deeper meanings of this meeting or the goals. So I have to claim ignorance.
Well, less than the goals, I'd say it.
But
the other things I think are important, obviously there's a rivalry and a burgeoning China, at this point, it's the second largest economy in the world, and soon will be the biggest economy in the world. I believe, if estimates are correct, in the next 5 to 10 years. And recently, the United States again put what do you call them? Put sanctions on China getting certain technology for purposes of building out supercomputers and so forth. So these things, so this is continually playing out in the real world. And so just wanted to bring that to folks' attention.
Yeah, no, right on. And I just, I hope somewhere in that conversation, there was some discussion of how, I'm sure he's good on that. Let me not take that detour. Anyway, I hope some part of that conversation was about how Chinese have at least claimed to have gotten rid of severe poverty by taking certain measures through redistribution of their economy and doing things like moving people closer to the place that they work, or allowing them to work closer to their homes, rather. Just little things like that have reduced the negative impacts of whatever, economic conditions that they suffer. And perhaps there's some discussion they could have about that student loan issue that Biden says there's no solution to. But
at the same time, Biden's proposing another $35 billion to Ukraine in their latest ask of Congress. So yet another $35 billion is going to be proposed that they send to Ukraine. Again, why they, like you said, they can't solve the water crisis in Jackson and other places. The student loan relief is held up. So there's money for Ukraine, but no money here for folks in the United States who are suffering day to day. So,
and the
Tupac
more I
told
keep sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Erica. Sorry.
I was just saying Tupac told y'all.
Yeah, he did.
True.
So
And
True.
And the more I read Stephanie Kelton's book, as I slowly keep working through it, this MMT argument, it's nothing revolutionary, nothing that we but she keeps demonstrating that there's no need to claim in an economy like this that we can pay $35 billion for Ukraine but can't afford healthcare or whatever else we want. The money can be created, the resources can be marshaled to do basically whatever this country wants. So it's just more clarity on top of clarity that all of this is just willful in terms of the maldistribution of everything. Anyway, right on. Anything else? Did you have something?
Yeah, this is actually a story that Erica shared with us about a 9-year-old girl who apparently New Jersey resident calls police on a 9-year-old black girl using a homemade spotted lanternfly repellent to try and stop the invasive species from harming trees in her neighborhood. The girl's mother and sister described the traumatic experience at a local council meeting. So let me cue this up for folks.
My sister was doing some research on them after seeing them in our local park and hearing about them in school. While researching them, she realized there's a non-toxic solution you can make at home that can effectively kill the spotted lantern bug. She proceeded to make a mixture which was made up of water, apple cider vinegar, and a little Dawn dish soap. She then discovered multiple infested trees on our street and decided to give the solution a try by spraying them on the trees and the actual bug. She was not only doing something amazing for our environment, she was doing something that made her feel like a hero. Our neighbor across the street saw my sister spraying the trees with the solution and didn't know what she was doing. Usually, if you see a child that you know doing something that might not be good, you'll walk up to them or ask their parents to tell them and let them know what's going on. First of all, she wasn't on his property. And second of all, he knows us. We're his neighbor, and it's not like there's numerous other Black families on our street. It's not only racist what he did, but it was extremely traumatic for my sister. She sees all these other Black children and adults on the news being killed by police officers for doing nothing wrong. So when this call rolled up beside her, she was immediately frightened because she did nothing wrong. No kid should have to be stared in their own town on their own street. My sister was extremely offensive, traumatic, and scarring towards my family. I can confidently assure you guys she will never forget this.
Our neighbor called the police and reported there's a little Black woman walking, spraying stuff on the sidewalks and trees. I don't know what the hell she's doing. It scares me though, and included that she was wearing a hoodie. It is sickening and scary to hear my neighbor use triggering words that have resulted in the death of too many Black and brown children and adults at the hands of the police.
How many lanternflies do you think you captured or killed? Did you count them at all? No, a lot, I think. And you used vinegar and apple cider vinegar and soap? And where did you find that out? Where did you find the recipe? On TikTok.
Thank you both for stepping up here. I know it's a difficult issue for many. I just want you to both know you have the governing body support we can do to help make you feel comfortable.
Ain't no goddamn support, but yeah.
So yeah, I saw this story and y'all look at her. She's a tiny little thing. And for that racist white man to call the police and say that a woman was spraying an unknown substance in the trees. And what I also learned is that this man has been living across the street from them for 8 years, and he was a former city council person. So the same people who are saying, we support you, he used to be, I think it was on that same city council, if not a neighboring city council. And it's just,
Yeah.
it just made me so mad.
And the family said that he knew them, like
Mhm.
literally.
8
It
years.
wasn't like it was some new neighbor. They'd never spoken. He knew who she was. He knows who the family is. So this is obviously some dude or some person who knew exactly what they were doing when they decided, in the descriptors that were used, when they decided to call the police on what looks to be like an 8 or 9-year-old girl. So it's just freaking crazy that this is, and again, like, you know, this is what she's got to have this in her head when she was simply, you know, whether she was doing something that was a scientific experiment or whatever, she was basically she's playing, having fun, living her neighborhood, living her life, doing something that interests her. And instead of that interest being nurtured and brought out for future, her experience now is like, if I go outside and do something outside the purview of my parents or my sister, I can get in trouble for nothing. So,
And everybody wants to
maybe
talk
a
about
visit
how,
to the neighbor's house. Let me just put that out there too.
look,
Maybe some visits.
look, everybody wants to talk about how STEM is the answer, right? Everybody need to be in STEM. Y'all need to be out teaching your kids about science. And here this little girl is trying to do that outside doing experiments, and y'all want to call the cops on her. You can't follow the rules.
So a couple years ago, my oldest had a little issue with the theater teachers, who on the one hand, you know, you want teachers to take pride in their work at any level, but on the other hand, you want them to realize we're not on Broadway, and these are children, right? And they had made some decisions that I thought were inappropriate to the situation. And I went to go meet with them, and the outcome wasn't. It didn't go. It didn't go. It didn't happen. What I wanted to happen didn't happen. It didn't go. You know. So afterwards, I called a buddy of mine who's professional and an expert in counseling psychology, and he made this point to me that I hope I'm not destroying, because this is not my field. But one of the things was that apparently there is a lot of research that shows that white folks, as part of their anti-blackness, they project age onto black, even girls, and black and brown in particular girls. They do it with boys too, but there's I think a particularity that happens with women. So in other words, when I reported to him that one of the things I said was that these are children we're talking about here, and you all are acting like you're again dealing with adults, and I think that's a problem with some of the teachers. They're not used to dealing with adults, so when they are confronted with an actual adult, they don't know what to do. But the point was that they were looking at my child as a grown woman that they have a problem with, so they see her, not to defend this guy, but in his mind, he's seeing a grown black woman and the same grown black woman and women and people that he doesn't like and that he doesn't get along with. And so for that psyche, it becomes easy to say, oh, you know what? I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what she's doing. I need to call the police. I feel threatened.
But it's that.
But I was like, was he in the room there? Was he there at this meeting? Does his name get called out?
No, he's a former council person. But you're absolutely right, Jared. There is this weird sort of adultification of Black children, like you said, maybe primarily Black girls, but then there's also the infantilization of Black adults, right? So like y'all are in one way really grown, but in another way, y'all are just, like babies, and we need to help you take care of yourselves. And, you don't have self-determination because we have to make sure y'all don't kill yourselves because you're savages and all those other kinds of things. So it's this very strange thing that happens with anti-Blackness.
Well, I think I do want to say that I think it's great, and they were inspiring to see these two young girls stand up there and read that, convey that message, make that point. I think that's wonderful. But I think Kamau, we on that same page. This ding dong, it's gonna be
yeah, they be. I agree. I agree too. Yeah. But they'd be like, I mean, it would just be an uncomfortable living
We,
situation.
we need to have a neighborhood meeting.
Yeah.
The community has to come together.
Yeah.
Yes,
And-
talking
and-
about community.
and we have to, if we're neighbors, we need to have a street,
Yeah.
meeting, block party, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you might be calling
Let's
the
get
cops
on
a
it.
lot. There might be a cop car stationed outside your home because I couldn't. Every time I walk by, there might be something that is going to be yelled at.
Oh, they would all
Yeah,
kind.
yeah.
Low intensity
Yeah.
warfare is a given.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a given. It's gonna be. So for instance, a couple before we live where we do now, we had a townhouse and a little patch of grass, and before we had our own dogs, we used to try to encourage others not to let that be the bathroom for their dogs. And this white dude would always come through and let his dog do his thing, and I would come out there, and I remember, and I'll never forget this, but I said to him one day, could you please not have your dog go to the bathroom there? And he looked at me and said, why? And I'll never forget, because I'm bothered that my response was not the right response, and I just simply said, I just tried to keep the peace and say, because we're just trying to grow some things and have the children play here and that and then he just kind of frowned and walked away. That's not really the response I would have preferred to have. So when we did have a house sitting situation where my sister-in-law's dog was with us, I made sure every time I was like taking him out as often as possible, and every bit of bathrooming he did was in their lawn. Like it was like I was like, hold it. Like I see you got to go. Like, hold it. We got to get across the street real quick. Hold on a second. I got you. Don't you drop one drop over here. And one day his wife, who had a job that carried she carried a gun. I don't know exactly what she did, but she had like a uniform that required her to have. She came running out the house one day after she saw, and I just kept walking, but she didn't, I think she wanted to say something, but she never, but I was just like, that if that's how it's going to be. So starting there, and that's just off of that. You start messing with children and all of that. Now, then this is, we just
Professor Petty.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Because what else am I supposed to do?
Full backing.
Because options 1, 2, and 3 you can't do that. Because then I would really be seen as being overboard if my first thoughts, if you go to first thoughts, you'd be like, oh no, he went too far. Jared, you went too far. I didn't require all of that. So we just walk it back to option number 10, and it's just to have the dog pee in their yard, poop in their yard,
And he's right. That is option 10. That's like that. That's like, I'm trying not to go to prison. I got to. That's like you don't talk. I got. This would be ridiculous and whatever. There's a whole line of like, at the very least, every time they come out the house, you know what I mean? It's just that
because we can't have a situation where even the remix chat would be saying, "Damn, Jared, really? Like, that was too much. All he did was had a dog pee in your yard."
I think they would go for you. They would go hard for you. They wouldn't be like that. They would.
No, honestly, my options 1, 2, and 3 were too much. Like I honestly, we do have to, I even have to admit, like you got to have some sort of, that's why I'm saying, the most aggrieved can't be the ones determining the punishment all the time. It's not appropriate. It's like it's just too much. So anyway, and by the way, I saved this from earlier, back to the crime combat. I didn't want to save this and come back to it. Afro Sings, in all honesty, all jokes aside, I'm being self-critical when I'm talking about, I'm not going to speak for Kamau, but when I talk about my reaction to men crying or my own tearfulness, I'm acknowledging it's antiquated.
Bitch ass.
Wow.
It is how I feel. It is how I feel. Kamau is
so the first thing that comes to mind. Now we do toxic masculinity.
So how do you raise your children to live in a world where they don't see you cry and you feel like you can't? So what are you teaching them in relation to that?
Have they seen? Oh man, they have not. I don't think they.
I don't think they've seen me cry. My kids, I don't think. But I tell my daughter all the time, it's like, yo, you're crying too much. Stop it.
Well, it's not necessary, but I know like Kamau has suffered a a loss, and I'm imagining that he probably cried during that. Like, it doesn't seem like that would be a foreign thing to have happened.
See, but I wasn't in the state. My mom passed away earlier this year. So yeah, I wasn't in. I went, they didn't come with us. Yeah. But no,
Kamal, during our private
in front of my
meeting when he
kids.
told us
cry.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would cry in front of my kids. I'm not, yeah. I'm talking more about what I, again, and like Jared would say, this is me making this up in my head around what I'm projecting onto somebody else. I completely agree. Maybe they are being sincere. Maybe they had a moment. But in my mind, I usually read that as, this is timed. This seems like bullshit. We're avoiding the real issue. And right now you seem to be trying to get over, you know what I mean? As opposed to dealing with whatever. And that's 75% of the time, particularly the public displays. Those are usually my what pops in my head before the sympathetic kind of like, oh, this person is having a moment. Every now and then I understand it. But
I
too
got
many
weepy
times.
reading my Glenn Ford comments when he passed. I got weepy all up on the remix that morning. I forgot about that one.
You did. You had
and I was struggling, and I was not, and I would have, I honestly, to Afra Singh's point, I would have liked to be a person who would have happily or leaned into it and let it just go. I think I would like to be that person, but my initial reaction is, I'm even saying to myself then, like, you better not start crying, you punk ass motherfucker. You better, how dare you start tearing up. I was, so I admit that is my honest initial reaction, but I do also wish that it wasn't. On some level, I wish, because I hear you, Erica. I hear you, Erica.
Well, maybe in the same way that you're talking about retraining yourself, maybe retraining is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying, in relation to how you react to things in terms of violence is my go-to, and I'm trying to work in a different way. Maybe you can also say to yourself, I'm not a bitch ass if I show some vulnerability, if I cry and, move in a different way.
Nah.
See, we was fine. You see how we was fine, and then you come in here.
Hold up, though.
For the psychological counselor.
No, that was Ear Doctor. You win the Segway Awards with that one, my dude. That wins right there. I can never beat that.
Hey, matter of fact,
I need more therapy.
Let me go here.
I need more therapy.
I still love you.
Oh my
Yo, there's different types of crying though. But that one right there.
Oh man.
Yo, listen, now Erica, I'm just playing. Listen, fellas, watch the movie Coco with your kid.
Oh.
And tell me at the end of that movie, if you don't cry, listen.
I did.
You're gonna cry.
Oh, no.
You're gonna
no. There was just no eye contact and no turning to the head. I just kept my eyes forward. That's all. Don't look over here. What you looking over here for? Watch the movie, girl. Watch the movie.
Even then, I hate it when because the movies try to make you cry. It's like,
that's it, Kamal. That's it. So that's actually how I stop myself, because I will do that. I'll say, see, stop playing with me, movie. How dare you try to write me into some tears? I'm with you on that. But I admit it, Eric. I know. I'm sorry, Eric. I'm trying.
I just feel like all of y'all would rather just fart out loud than cry, and I think it's weird.
Listen,
I do.
Is the woman still going to respect you as that man when they see you crying?
What?
Well, I don't want to make it just about it. My mama was not a crier, so I get it from my mom. My mom was like not a, you know what I mean. She did not sort of what's the term? Something suffer fools lightly. Right, crying in front of my mom did not get me or get us anywhere.
Right.
It wasn't a like the kids, they'll cry and they feel like, oof, now I'm not gonna get my ass beat. You might get hit one more time. for that. My mom was not, you know what I mean? Like it's not like I never saw her cry before either. Like she's cried a couple of times, but for the most part, my mom was a hard, you know, and it's a lot of reasons for it. I'm not saying it's all good and all that kind of shit, but I kind of learned it was like you stuff that shit down sometimes in order to survive in the real world. So that's why I get it. I was kind of like, it ain't gonna solve your crying is not gonna solve your problems.
That minus the physical violence, I think my mother's Brooklyn is the same. That my mother was the same way. She didn't put her hands on me, but it was if she saw me start crying, it was like it was the eye rolls, the volume of her voice went up. You know, it was like walking away, doors slam. Like if you're just gonna stand there and cry, then this is over.
See,
like
Eric,
I know, but we're all living and getting better, Ear Doctor.
You're right. You're right.
This is what that's the work. And I mean, look, all of us are doing stupid stuff. I do bird shit all the time, but I'm just like, we're supposed to be trying to get better.
That's right.
I'm at least acknowledging. I wish, you know, I'm struggling. Y'all heard, yeah. I admit it. When it's just the initial reaction. I can't help it.
That's why I'm gonna go watch Roland, because Roland will cry. He's not afraid to cry. I'm gonna go over there and watch his show.
And that's part of the problem.
Hey, Erica.
It's manipulation.
Oh damn,
no!
Go watch Roland then. How about that? Nah.
But see, that's the happy medium we need, Erica. Because Roland and them, all jokes aside, Roland and them weaponize the tears and some fraudulent nonsense. So we need room to cry, but not attached to some nonsense. That's all. So somewhere we got to find a room, you know, because some of these dudes just be crying it's like a tactic. It is a tactic.
It is a tactic. It's not like, it is a tactic.
I mean,
I'm telling you,
is Van Jones really that upset?
Look,
when folks cry at the same point on every speech.
Y'all
using the extremes. Roland and Van are extremes. We're ignoring them and their tears.
And the person I was talking about before, I'm quickly bringing up that, and I forgot that he's cried publicly so many times. So that was a dude that cried in front of me one time. It was just like, stop it.
Oh no! Oh, I actually thought you were talking about Kevin Powell. That's who I thought you.
Nah, Kevin has never cried. I don't know him now as well. He's done an old golly G thing in front of me one time, and I was like, stop it, P. But no, Van whipped out the tears, and it's like, oh, come on, pull it together, stop it. You done yet? You done? It's like I think I looked at my watch to see how long it would go, kind of shit. It's like, all right, come on. Can we get back to the conversation?
Forgot we were supposed to take a quick break. So let's do a real quick break, and then we'll come right back to the Remix Morning Show, y'all. All right, since I'm the hip hop authority over here, I thought we'd talk about another element in hip hop. What are we going to talk about? One that, yes, authorities will try to lock you up when they see you doing this. Let's talk about graffiti, y'all. And who are we going to talk about in graffiti? Today, we're going to talk about a graph artist known as Dondi, also known as Donald Joseph White. He was born back in 61. And actually, he made it all the way to 1998, where he made his transition after he caught the AIDS virus. All right, straight out of Brooklyn, East New York. He came from a African Italian background. He started off doing graffiti back in the mid 70s. He had his name Dondi, which came from his original name, and which was very risky at the time because you had metropolitan police authorities coming and trying to crack down on writers that tagged the side of trains and buildings like that. He actually started his own crew called the CIA, which is Crazy Inside Artists. You could also catch him on a couple of movies where you see his artwork, Style Wars, also Wild Style. He's also been in different exhibitions and stuff with big artists like John Michael Basquiat. Man, I messed that one up. All right, you got Keith Haring, you got Fab Five Freddy. Yeah, a bunch of different people he did exhibitions with. So he is pretty much known. He also is, his most famous work is Children of the Grave. And as you can see, He used to tag on the side of these trains, and that right there will make you famous throughout the city. When you see stuff like that, you made it. You made it. So big up to Dondi, big up to all the graffiti artists and people out there that's putting their name up. You got to remember, graffiti goes all the way back to hieroglyphics. So we've been at this. You know what I mean? All right. Well, let's take it back to the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Yo.
Why do we always
Right
got to
on.
do that? No right on shit. Why is that like graffiti and hieroglyphics? There's no relationship between the two.
Listen, I
fuck
broke
is
it
that?
down many times. Graffiti goes back to hieroglyphics. MCing goes back to being a griot. B-boying goes back to African dancing. And DJing goes back to playing the drums. It all starts back in the day and it's still here. We done?
So I
Yes.
love it. I was specifically though, Kamal, I was saying right on to the perfectly timed length of the break that allowed me to get to and from the bathroom perfectly without any overlap or rushing or anything. It was perfect. So that's what I was, thank you, Ear Doctor. That was great. Now, what did he say, Kamal?
all of it was great. I mean, he covered an actual element of hip hop this time. And so that,
Yeah, I'm just
Wow.
playing. I could hear.
Yeah.
The Bluetooth headphones
It's just
work.
like-
I
You
could
taking
hear
us
it.
in the bathroom with you?
In my ear, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
well,
on the mic,
That's why we got
not
the
on camera,
hot mic.
but I can hear it.
Yeah. It's okay.
Is that too much?
That's like breaking a barrier for you. That's like
Is
a
that
third-
too
fourth
much? My
one?
bad, Erica.
Hey,
Yes.
welcome to the Beige Brigade.
You never take your phone to the bathroom if you go to the bathroom and you on the call.
Depends on who I'm talking to. I wouldn't with y'all.
But that's what I'm saying. I wasn't talking. I wasn't, because I honestly don't do that. I don't like that either. I don't want to be on the phone when you on it. Like, put me on. Call me back. But yeah, for a
Boy,
quick
look at
for
Erica.
the show.
Got her Ethernet fixed now. She talking all
My
this
bad.
stuff. I tell
Oh
you.
damn, my bad, Big Teal. My bad, everybody. I'm sorry. I didn't think that was too much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. My apologies. Let's just wheel it back. Wheel it back, DJ Selector.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back.
Speaking of that, I catch y'all with about 3-5 minutes at the end of the show with a mix as we hit our 275,
Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
300 again today. So let's keep going.
Thank you.
All right.
Remix.
No, the mix
Right
and the
on.
mix yesterday was fantastic. My man did. He did the guys.
Man, he killed it.
He killed it.
And
Yeah.
and to be putting them together on the quick like that
Yeah.
shows skill. What they say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Exactly.
Do somebody else from Brooklyn. That's all. That's
Did
what
I?
did.
Dan, now they're asking if I washed my hands. That's messed up, everybody. That's messed up. That's messed up. The assumption. Come on now. Look at my green screen crib. Do I look like somebody
It's
that wouldn't wash
clean.
his hands? It's clean. Look at that. Look at that. Anyway,
So
that's messed up.
Kamal, are you pulling stories? Who's pulling stories today? Is it you, sir? Jerry?
I think
Kamal
everybody-
was. I
put
can
one.
grab one, but
Yeah.
because you had one where Erica had the exclamation marks on it, the audacity.
Oh, not that one. Not that one.
Not that one.
I
Oh,
was-
that's you don't want that one.
If,
Okay,
can,
my bad.
can you pull
Oh.
up the first one? And y'all, this one does have a content warning, I'll say. But
Oh Lord,
because
Yeah,
we
you
were
sure
just
did.
talking about sort of crying and vulnerability, it made me think about this. So if you could bring it up
Here we
and play
go.
the
Yep,
video,
that's right.
there's a video to be played.
Yep. Here we go.
He pulled out my pants, touched my testicles. They like eased down and they put their hands right between my butt. He pulled my drawers down and dug in my rectum.
The alleged victims keep coming forward. 8 Milwaukee police officers are under internal investigation, accused of performing illegal strip searches, including cavity searches on the streets. Were they wearing any gloves?
No, I didn't see not one. There was no gloves.
Kevin Freeman Jr. claims back in December he and some friends were violated during a traffic stop.
When they searched me, they like eased down and they put their hands right between my butt. And I try to reach back and when I try to reach back and try to stop them, They just got to slamming me. He pulled out my.
So, sort of related to what we were talking about before, when you have boys, when you have men who are victims of sexual violence, I think a lot of times because you all feel like you can't be vulnerable, you can't share that kind of news. What does it say about you as a boy, a teen, a man? If this thing happens to you, then there are these stories that go untold because people just don't feel comfortable and safe sharing what's happened to them. So anyway, the conversation, I know a lot of it was in jest before in terms of crying, but I think that there are real implications to when you have this wall or this barrier and something happens to you, how you deal with it internally, and then how you can go on to talk about it.
I mean, the only thing I add is like this is not new. This is not new behavior, as in this is shit I witnessed as a kid, as an adult. And it's a frequent tactic of the police to make particularly dudes, and maybe to a point in terms of like in public only dudes, pull down their pants and do cavity searches or semi cavity searches in public. So this is a long held tactic, and you're right. Maybe one of the reasons it's not even talked about that much and it's gone on for such a long time is because of how it makes the person being victimized feel. Again, and folks just like take it as this is something that again, it's just part of like living where we live and how we live and the interactions with the police. So this is like, you know, again, it's great that this behavior is being exposed and that folks are being sued and hopefully will go to prison and they can stop. But it's one of those things that's been around for a long time in terms of how searches are conducted with the excuse of searching for drugs, looking for drugs, that kind of thing. So that, like, you know, that kind of thing, I think you're right. It's done for a reason. It's done to embarrass, emasculate, and all the rest of it. And again, you don't know how folks, some folks just like, you know, whatever. Again, that's just part of that life. But maybe other folks are potentially scarred for a very long time, if not life, by feeling the embarrassment, some embarrassment and or shame of this activity, which again, I think obviously is the purpose. And someone could see it like a show of power by the police.
And I think you're right, Erica, to draw some connection. So I don't mean at all to, you know, I recognize, and that's sort of where I think I'm going with my own self-criticism on that issue. Like, I don't want to be part of, and I wouldn't want a situation where anybody, particularly someone suffering that, would feel a kind of way about sharing it because of this association with a condemnation of crying or being seen as somehow being, as folks have said in the chat, emasculated or something like that. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Like there has to be room for legitimate showings of emotion. You know, so as opposed to the weaponizing of them for silly backwards politics, and that's you know, or some sort of effect, cheap effect. But yeah, anyway, so I appreciate that, and that's God damn.
And it's, I mean, it's someone mentioned in the chat. No, it's
right. It's right. You
know, someone mentioned, I think Big Teal, yes, police sexually assault women too. And so by no means, what I meant by is like the open search of that nature usually takes place against dudes because of some of the things that we were talking about earlier. And in women, again, what we've seen or what's is sort of the search of breast, or the stripping. You know, we talked about before, even in prisons, the invasiveness of searching and how it's done, and again, why it's done to dehumanize, for power, to assault, to bring people to a place where they feel like they've lost all their power. And for women, not only that, but I think probably stats would bear out to what you consider more horrific sexual assaults and actual rape. You know, I think so. I again, in terms of tactics, and this conversation can go beyond just with the police, right? Tactics around folks having power over people, The tactics of sexual violence is something that's been used for centuries against folks to sort of make them weak or make them feel weak or powerless to fight back against the situation. So
I even just saw another documentary where they were talking about the use of this as a tactic to keep prisoners from accepting visits, because you would have to go through strip search before you can go visit someone. So people will often enough apparently just say, I'm not going to be visited because I just don't want to go through that. So it just increases the isolation and all the other kind of stuff. So yeah, that's and by the way, with that same theme, by the way, since we're already at this horrific topic, Friday on our show, Friday morning, we're going to be discussing, in addition to Lawrence Grand Prix coming on to talk about his thoughts about Wakanda, the bulk of the show is going to be a roundtable discussion about that film or that documentary, No Rape, No exclamation mark Rape, which was, I think, filmed in the 90s, but is obviously still relevant. And I had never seen it, and it was.
What's a quick summary? What is it about?
Well, in the context, this film's focused specifically on women being raped, Black women being raped by Black men, and it's a documentary that focuses on the intra-Black community issue of rape, and the struggles that many women have, and could apparently, I would argue, I'm sure, continue to have in having this issue be properly dealt with, and Black men adjusting ourselves to our complicity and our behavior in this regard. So it's not that there's not room for critique and investigation, whatever, but it's just I mean, obviously it's just painful. It's hard to watch. It's just not an easy watch. It's not an easy discussion, and that's obviously why the filmmakers made it. And I think why Geechee and his crew feel like it's still relevant, because not only is it still happening, but I haven't really looked into this, but there may be a lack of media on this topic.
I'm sure there is. There's a lack of media. There's a lack of reporting. I think whatever numbers we are exposed to or know about, they are probably tip of the iceberg when it comes to things that, again, people don't report, except maybe don't even view themselves as sexual assault in the moment, but have to come to it later. So I think, I think unfortunately the topic still remains as relevant today as it has been in the past.
Yeah, right on. Anyway, anybody got anything else we want to get to? We got an Ear Doctor Mix coming up. I do want to, especially just because, Erica, you had this story, and again, you said the audacity, but Bezos warns consumers halt big purchases ahead of prolonged economic downturn. So is he saying that people should not buy? Wait a minute. What is he saying here? Amazon founder Jeff go ahead.
No, you go.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men on the planet, is warning consumers and small businesses to delay big purchases in case of downturn. In an interview with CNN, Bezos said that putting off purchases for big ticket items such as new cars, televisions, and appliances is the surest way to keep some dry powder. Take some risk off the table, he told CNN. Just a little bit of risk reduction could make the difference. And as I'm sure he says a couple of graphs down, Erica, he says, and as a result, I'm going to triple the pay of my workers and redistribute some of the billions I have so that I can add to that dry powder people are saving. I'm sure that's right. I know because we're rushing a little bit to get to Ear Doctor's Mix that we're not going to get to it, but just as a fair and balanced news operation that we are, I just want to give him credit for what I'm sure comes next in that story. Good God. So poor people, just hold on. I'm going to space, but
I didn't make these billions for nothing.
It's all so ridiculous. Like, first of all, what extra? Like, you want me to put back extra? have y'all seen the prices out here? Extra. I don't have extra, sir. You have extra. So first of all, you want me to put back something I don't have. But I find it interesting that he's telling you, and I know he's not the CEO of Amazon anymore, but I find it interesting that he's telling us to avoid big ticket items that Amazon doesn't happen to sell. Because I feel like if he sold cars and if he sold appliances and if he sold other stuff, he wouldn't be telling us to hold back. But because we buying small stuff from Amazon coming to our house every day, he not telling y'all to stop doing that. So yes, I think it's the audacity, and I'm sick of seeing an article on Jeff Bezos every day. And I do wish that he would give his employees health insurance so they could deal with the UTIs that they get because he doesn't let them go to the bathroom.
Damn. That was I
On
I
that
don't wanna
note.
mess that up by saying anything else. Ear doctor, come on in. Yeah.
On that note.
She said that. All right, so let's get up out of here. Remix Morning Show. Make sure y'all tune in the morning again, 8 a.m. We are going to be here and we're going to have what y'all need. We got that boom bap breakfast, y'all. So, come out. You said Brooklyn?
Brooklyn. Yes, son.
Check it out, y'all. You don't stop. Keep on.
Let's go.
Well, it's the Kane in the flesh. Of course I'm fresh. Oh, you thought that I was rotten? I beg your pardon. To me, getting paid and getting busy fall together. So a man of my ambiance, never could I be weak. While I'm rather unique, I got style, flavor, grace, and plus a different technique. No apologies for what I'm about to say. Rough, rugged, and real, you're on standstill to obey your case, so let the man build words of rapture that you have to capture, and I just slap you with a handful of literature. This dope, deaf, fresh, hype, choice, smooth, and raw. Rappers I replace, rub out, and erase. Competition, you must be on freebase. Rapper, hold yourself, open your eyes, get wise to the exercise being taught by the teacher. That's most dominant. You need knowledge.
Well, I'm dropping it.
Listen to the rap, allow it to trap your body and soul so that you can adapt to the man on display as I take you away. So may I? Yes, you may. Proud to be a black man, coming exact and giving up brothers 5 on the backhand. Great beliefs and peace upon each other with my sisters and brothers. Yo, word to the mother.
Oh yeah, I'm with this. I'm just gonna sit here laid back to this nice mellow beat, you know, and drop some smooth lyrics. It's 88. Time to set it straight, you know what I'm saying? And there ain't no half stepping.